Thank you, Larry. And first of all, I'd like to thank everyone in the room that took the time and made the effort today to come out and be a part of this event. We're all here to help you. Everyone here that's presenting, we've worked together for several years now. And when I first met Larry about 3 years ago, I was sitting at his desk with Jeremy, and Larry says, "Where have you been for the last 10 years? We could have used you a long time ago." And I said, "Well, unfortunately, I was on the wrong side of the Iowa-Minnesota state line. I was on the north side. I should have been on the south." Jeremy's going to help me here, and Jeremy actually helped with the slideshow. I'm a 37-year grower based in Florida. I'm on a multitude of crops nationwide, and I came up with CarbonWorks products out of necessity, because what happened, too many flocks of snowbirds came to Florida in the winter, and they drank all my fresh water. So my ag wells became saline. And this happened not overnight, but over time. And so in 20 years, we saw our salinity levels in our water go from a TDS of what you might be familiar with of 600 to a TDS of 3,600. Not many crops can grow in that level of salinity in our ag. So I heard about carbon products that were in use predominantly to the west of the Rockies in California all the way up to Idaho. A lot of these products come out of Canada. The base ingredient is a soft coal. That's a great carbon source. But what we've done at CarbonWorks to differentiate ourselves, we have added two things that I think are more important than everything that's been said today about all the biologicals, is that what we have in these bottles, and this one is for the soil, make it easy, and this one is for the sky, all your spray tanks. These are pure liquid carbon that have some very unique properties. As far as the slides, and Jeremy, as a great friend, has put together something with, I think, the help of Andrew. Now, this is pretty unique, and I'm going to be telling my age here, but this is kind of fun. My mother used to say in the 50s after I was born that I was Curious George, and then Jeremy has deemed me the Colonel Sanders of carbon, because I'm from the South, where Colonel Sanders came from. And so here I am as also a farmer. I'm like one of you. And so we came up with products in 2005 that actually deliver carbon, hydrogen, energy, and oxygen. But very purposefully, we know that the carbon's the food, but the biologicals also have to have energy and oxygen. That's why I'm standing here in front of you, because the biologicals in our own body have to have that wonderful meal that we had, and they have to have water, and we have to have oxygen. Because think about it simply, what would tip us over first? Lack of food, lack of water, or lack of oxygen? It's an easy answer. 2 to 3 minutes without oxygen would be tipped over. This slide, and it's the one that also we put out over lunch on your desk, comparative analysis, and I don't know how many of you in the room already have used or know about what's called humic acid. That's a misnomer, because I have never in 18 years seen a humic product that is an acid. To me, you have to be below a pH of 7 to be an acid. Humic products are typically a pH of 9 to 12. Now, another property that no one had noticed much before CarbonWorks is that also, as you see on that competitor analysis, that is a minus 322 on the oxygen potential. That is the ORP, oxygen reduction potential. You can see that CarbonWorks products are a pH of 1.87 and a positive 335 molecular oxygen. That's what we decided we were going to focus on at CarbonWorks. So for 13 years now, I have been on corn and soybeans here in the Midwest from Minnesota all the way down to Missouri, over to Illinois and Indiana, and we've been on a multitude of crops nationwide. The products work. Our goal as being farmers, but also manufacturers, bringing you these products, we wanted to be cost effective. They have to work, and they have to work on your farm, but they have to be a complement to your agronomy program. We're not trying to bring you something to just add on extra costs. We have to pay our way, and we do that very effectively. And through groups like Bob and like Larry, and Agronomy RX and Central Iowa Agronomy, we've been able to show here in Iowa that we have performed. We've got a positive ROI. As much of the data you saw this morning, and I made the comment asking the question to Larry about the 28 and the 32% that had the liquid fertility and the increase in nitrogen availability on those crops. That was enhanced by adding our CarbonWorks CTEC, which is this dark product, which is the one that's a pH of around 2, but a positive molecular oxygen. This product is used at the rate of 1 ounce for every 2 gallons of 28 or 32%, or it can be applied to a ton of dry urea at a rate of 1 gallon per ton. This becomes something that's very cost effective, but now after over 10 years of replicated third-party trials, and some of those were done by a very noted third largest seed company in the nation, Vex Hybrids, out of Atlanta, Indiana. Here in Iowa, in Colfax, Iowa, in their PFR, they tested the cetane product for 3 years in a row, and we had a positive 7.5 bushels per acre, and the ROI is somewhere north of $30 an acre. So that's a very significant advantage for you on your farm. And you're only putting 1 ounce of this for every 2 gallons. That's a 256-to-1 ratio. This is a very powerful product, but it's also very cost effective. Jeremy found this data, and you might have seen it earlier over lunch, but this is why I started looking at ways to reduce salinity. And I, not being an agronomist my first 20 years around growing crops, I relied on other people, crop advisors and other experts. I didn't know that NP and K were salts. I had no idea. But all metals on the periodic chart, NPK, and the typical metals that we would know like copper, zinc, iron, aluminum, those are metals, but so are NP and K. So we actually were adding salt in our fertility program. So if I have saline water now, which I can't grow anything, none of us in here can grow anything without water, then I needed to start looking at, was salt actually harming my biologicals, of which I have very little organic matter and a very low holding capacity. In our beach sand in Florida, we have a CEC of 3, and we have an organic matter of about 0.3, 0.3% organic matter. So as y'all up here are very blessed with a lot better organic matter, a lot better holding capacity. Now this is a chart that's actually on your table also. This one I love sharing with everyone, and it took a lot of years to come up with this, to simplify it down to where what we're after is everyone knows the photosynthetic equation, but what's more important to me is the respiration, because who is respirating that sugar that plant's building? Half of that sugar, like Liz talked about earlier, half of that sugar is going down from photosynthesis to feed the biologicals in the soil, because those are the workers. And those are the guys that are making available the nutrients and the water that's coming up through the root system back up top. Now, what are the critical elements needed here? You need oxygen, because we all know on our farms that if we flood a field, things go upside down overnight. Is it the lack of nutrients, or is it lack of oxygen? It's the lack of oxygen that turns our aerobic bacteria upside down, and then we have no nutrient breakdown and availability until we can get that water out of that soil and we get that oxygen back in there. This is another tidbit that Jeremy helped with. One of the things that we are very paramount about at CarbonWorks is sharing information. We feel like that the good Lord has blessed each of us with the things that we know. Everyone in this room knows something. And it's up to us to decide, are we going to share that with each other? And myself and a lot of others in this room, everyone else here on the panel, has decided to share that with you. And we can all help each other. This is a very unique and very personal plaque that I actually created with God's help. About 6 years ago, this started in a cornfield in Minnesota. Now, it didn't appear like this. This is not what appeared. But what appeared to me were words. And the first word was actually recognize. The second word was share. Now, over 2 years, all of these words appeared. But they didn't appear in a manner like when I was a child playing Scrabble with my grandmother. I didn't put this together until about 2 years ago. And one day I was writing down the words, and I looked at it. But the meaning here is not just the words and what it spells out. That's very near and dear to all of our hearts in here as farmers. But our faith. What is our faith? What do we believe in? And each of us can have our own independent faith and belief. And that's okay for everyone to believe what they need to believe and what they want to believe. But if you don't put that faith into action, it's not going to do much. So what's important is putting our faith into action and then recognizing what is it that we're on this planet for. Because what really matters is what we do from birth until death. Because what else are we here for? We didn't bring anything into this world, and I can assure you we don't take anything materially out when we go. So it's important what we do while we're here. So recognizing what your mission is, Mark Twain said it very well. He said, the two most important days in your life are the day you're born and the day you figure out why you were born. I really believe that's really imperative. And I know that I found out the reason I was born at 50 years old. Almost 18 years ago, I figured out that I was on a mission to help farmers, like myself. Because I had something that happened to me that was totally out of my control. But what I could control was figuring out a way to help myself and other farmers. And so then, as you recognize your mission and you set the example, you put your actions into work, you don't just talk about it, you go out and put it into shoe leather. And then what happens is you earn respect. You earn the respect of your other fellow growers, you earn the respect of others around you, and then you also respect them. And at the end of the day, do we just want to be a farmer, or can we share this and all be farmers and work together? And here's our website, and I thank you for your time and attention, and we're here on the panel, and I appreciate the opportunity to share with you now and again later. Thank you.